What's good, people of all financial statuses? It is Black Boy, and I have good news for you. On Friday of July, I made it in the top 16 of a MTGO Legacy Challenge 32 with Mono Black Pox. And for me, this is a milestone. Going for 2 or better in the challenge because the stakes are higher and the level of play is also higher too. Much less opponents are willing to pack it up if they see you're in a winning position, or much more willing to draw to their outs knowing that there's more on the line. So I'm going to break down what we have here. Is my favorite Mono Black Pox variant, which is Mono Black Karn Pox. And I would say this is quite possibly my hottest run yet. So you already know about the mana base and such. We've gone through that before. What has changed from previous iterations of the deck is Ghost Quarter and Krakos. In previous lists, we ran 2 Ghost Quarters because Urzatron was a main deck of the format. But since Candelabra of Tawnos is banned, I expect a lot less Urzatron and much more Mystic Forge. And that deck runs basic, so Ghost Quarter is not as good anymore. So I decided to add Krakos. I think some legendary creatures like Thalia and Tameo give me problems. And also, if Fantastic Card tries to play the slow game, I can return it back to their hand with this card. And you still run the usual 3 copies of Urza Saga. Now, the reason why it's not 4 is every time I tried to run it as 4 in the Karn Pox deck, it always felt pretty clunky because we don't want to run too many non-black mana sources in a mono-black deck. And also, the land itself blows up itself in a deck that all blows its lands for other means like Smallpox. So the fourth copy always feels slightly clunky, and 3 copies feels consistent enough to see the card when you need it. And we'll see what else has changed. Alright, here is the tech of the format. Our Ratchet Bomb effects. I chose to go with the Filigree Silex. Originally, I was going for Powder Keg because I thought the best Fantastic Card decks would be Artifact Land Heavy. I was not correct, so I went to Filigree Silex because not only does it blow up 4 Fantastic Card tokens, it's also an additional out the Tameo if she flips. Powder Keg is not an out the Tameo when she flips. But there is a downside. If I ever have to get the Filigree Silex up to 3 counters, I do lose my Planeswalkers in the process. Powder Keg, I would not, but I think I'm rarely going to go to 3. I think most of the time I'm going to be going to 0 to 1, so I'm not going to write that as a big enough downside. I think I'm better off with Filigree Silex. And Bogart Trawler. Now, the reason for Bogart Trawler being an addition ever since the introduction of Flow State, I believe the deck needs at least three answers to the card Flow State. The card just generates way too much card advantage for its mana costs. And it's nice to have 3 answers within the 75 that aren't clunky like Leyline of the Void. So being able to slot these into fair decks, Bogart Trawler, Naya's Spellbomb, and Ghost Vacuum, it seems consistent enough to not be completely ran over by the Flow State, which is what I consider one of the biggest threats in the current Legacy environment. If you don't prepare for it, it will outvalue you, and you won't be able to keep up. The 2-for-1s are just too much for a deck that just goes 1-for-1 most of the time. So I gotta respect the card by having cards that can contest it. And so I'm not running too many graveyard hates within the 75. Instead of it being a spell, it's a spell and a land hybrid. So it fits the role of a land while also not cutting into my spells. So nothing has changed about my land drop account, and nothing has changed about my nothing has really changed about my spell count either. So it's nice to have the 2-in-1, so I don't lose the land drops that I need to cast my mana hungry cards like Karn. So that is why Bogart Trawler is there, which also gets recycled by Ral's Zerg Guest Selector, which was introduced in Secrets of Strixhaven. And I've been running 1 to 2 copies ever since his introduction. I think he should actually be ran in more Mono Black Pox lists, because he just does a lot. The Surveil 2 early on can set you up early. It can fulfill Luhergoyfs like Nergoyf and Baragoyf. It can feel Hogak, and it filters out bad draws, and it helps ensure you draw in it. Your good draw ratio is improved by surveilling 2. I rarely use the -1. I think it's pretty bad, but it's nice if you're getting their hand size down to 0. It's not bad. Most of the time, it's bad though. But the best thing about the card is its unearth effect. -2, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is the best thing about it, in my opinion, because modern day card design fits it well. Because Baragoyf was released in 2024, and for me it has been a mainstay in Pox, as well as Orcus Bowmasters from Lord of the Rings. So that's 6 creatures on its own, and with Bogart Trawler, we are going to see these 7 creatures before we see Ral Zarek. So I believe most of the time his effect is live with the 7-to-1 ratio. I wish to run more copies, but since the format is so unfair heavy due to Fantastic Horror for Marvel superheroes, I think I can't really maximize the value of this card. There's just not enough fair matchups, but I think he's just too good not to include. So I want at least 1 copy. I always feel like it's better than the 3rd or 4th Liliana Veil to run at least 1 copy of Ral Zarek. And let's see. I think the lists are alright. And then for sideboard, the dress, I choose to do this because I don't think Mono Black Pox can keep up with all the unfair strategies happening in Legacy. And dress is well positioned if it's like a pure combo deck or a pure control deck where you can afford to tap down to discard a card. By siding in this dress with my 4 main deck Fotsies, I will have nearly a 50% chance to open up a turn 1 targeted discard to play against the pure combo decks I might have trouble with. So another thing that has changed, Force of Despair. We are running into, this might be the right amount of copies. I want to run 3, but the card is pretty clunky because you have to have another black card if you want to play for 3 mana. But it plays really well into the format since every deck wants the slot in Fantastic card. That card can single-handedly destroy you within 2 turns. So having a Force of Despair is a really good answer because a lot of the time they blow through their resources just to get that play in. A lot of times they will lose if they let this card resolve. So that is why I run 2 Force of Despair. I did have to cut into some of the cards I really liked in the deck, like my second one drop removal, like a Fatal Push, and my Chains of Mephistopheles. These cards would help me against certain fair strategies, but I don't think there's much room for them if you have to get prepared for Fantastic Car. So I think my overall win rate has decreased versus fair decks. It has improved against unfair decks. So keep that in mind ever since I slotted in Force of Despair. But I think I can't survive in the current environment without playing 2 Force of Despairs and Filigree Silex main deck. I need multiple answers, or I feel like I'm just going to get ran over. Snare and Bridge is too dependent on a ritual and having a specific cannon size. I think it's too situational to rely on that alone. So having a 2-mana answer with Filigree Silex and a 3-mana answer in the form of Force of Despair will make this Mono Black Pox deck more reliable in the current Legacy environment. And Day of the Black Sun, I'm not sure about this one, because I do have to take the damage first before from Fantastic Car to play into it, but it does wrath Fantastic Car for 2 mana. This used to be Meat Hook Massacre or Toxic Deluge, but I think Day of the Black Sun is the board wipe that is the most well positioned in current Legacy, and that is why it's there. This was a card that was agreed upon in the Cult of Pox Discord, Zern Orb. Instead of main decking it, it's a sideboard card. Now the reason behind this is that we don't want to draw in Zern Orb. Zern Orb is a bad draw because it's only good when you have Eumidian Hatchery in play. If you don't have the 2 cards together, it's really bad, and it gives Karn the Great Creator a way to protect itself. And let's see. Alright, so those are the only changes I made with this deck. And yeah, that's Mono Black Karn Pox. If I have the time, I will be uploading replays and attaching them to this video in the description. I will be sharing the link for MTG Goldfish, so you can check out the link. I also highly advise everyone who wants to take Mono Black Pox seriously, let's play an Urza Saga decklist. The card is just busted and does a lot that other Mono Black Pox lists don't accomplish. So in my opinion, the best Mono Black Pox list, it's going to be a contest between Mono Black Karn Pox or the Lurgoyf Pox list that run more copies of Beargoyf and Nethergoyf, but don't play the prison control hybrid game plan like Karn Pox does. So anyone who wants to take Mono Black Pox to the next level, I think it's between Lurgoyf Pox and Karn Pox for the best Mono Black Pox variants. That is just my opinion. You can take it with a grain of salt as you wish, but I feel like I have enough experience with the Mono Black Pox deck. I do believe I have over 25-0s with Mono Black Pox. And I just got my top 16 recently, so I mean, I hope you take me seriously on what I have to say. Anyways, this is Blog Boy with Mono Black Pox. About to sign out. Come join the Cult of Pox Discord. I'll give you the invite link. And I'll see you around.